Namaste and welcome. In yoga classes of many styles, you will find the Sun Salutations, or Surya Namaskar is their traditional Sanskrit name. These integrated series of yoga poses, also known as asanas, are coordinated with the breath to help build a conscious connection between breathing and moving the body. They're really a foundational practice for beginners and experienced yogis. They can be practiced as a warm-up to build up to other yoga poses, or they can be practiced just on their own for their invigorating qualities. Physically, they help to build strength, they help to increase flexibility, they help to improve mobility, and they also require a deep awareness and focus, so they have mental benefits as well. They're often referred to as meditation in motion. So try it out for yourself. This is the first of 3 videos, and we'll be exploring a very basic sun salutation, Surya Namaskar A, or Form A. So get ready to move, step on your mat, and we'll begin by checking in with the breath. Now, the breath is really going to be the foundation for our practice. It's going to carry us through all of the transitions, the poses. So we really want to find that deep awareness of how the breath resonates within the body. So take a moment in a standing or seated position, whatever's comfortable for you. And you can soften your gaze or close down your eyes and just begin to tune in. Just start by listening to your breath, so you can invite the ujjayi breath. It's called in yoga the wave-like sound, almost like a whisper or fogging a mirror as you constrict the back of the throat. And if you're able to breathe in and out through your nose, remember that the sinuses, the nasal cavity have all that lovely mucus and hair that helps to filter the breath. But if it's too narrow, then just part your lips and breathe in and out of the mouth. Try and deepen your inhales, lengthen your exhales so that you find that calm and steady breath. Now we'll deepen the physical awareness within the body. So just take a nice deep breath into your lungs. Feel how your rib cage expands outward with that in-breath. And then slowly exhale as you feel the low ribs draw in, the diaphragm tucks back up underneath the ribs. Now take a nice big belly breath, breathe nice and deep into the body. Feel how your abdominal wall expands and lengthens outward. And then as you exhale, begin to engage through the core as you draw back in. That pressure releases out of the abdomen. Good, so now see if you can breathe even deeper into the body. Take a nice deep breath in into the interior space of the pelvis. So use that pressure from the breath to lengthen out the pelvic floor muscles as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, you're going to engage in Mula Bandha, it's called in some yoga practices. As you engage in that Kegel exercise, you're engaging in lifting the pelvic floor up and in as you exhale. So begin to zip up through the front of the body as that air releases out of the lungs. Good, and then breathe in all the way down to the base of your body. Feel that lengthening, expansive quality of the in-breath. And then slowly exhale, feel that supportive, stabilizing quality of the exhale. Good. So moving forward into our physical practice, we just want to try and keep this awareness of the breath. And if at any time you need to slow down, take a step back, retract your breath, then certainly take that time to do it. It's well worth it. So as with all of the sun salutations we will be exploring within this series, they all begin and end in a standing position called Tadasana, or Samastitihi, which translates to mountain pose or equal standing. So we'll begin at the top of your mat in a standing position. So just as the name suggests, you want to find that equal pressure through all sides of the body as well as equal lift. So just find that for yourself through the right, the left side, the front, the back. Make sure that you're gripping through the feet. You feel kind of pressure through all 4 corners. The shoulders are stacked over the hips, and you're not flaring the low ribs forward, but you're not rounding the shoulders either. So nice and tall, strong like a mountain. All right, let's tap into that full, clear breath. On an inhale, reach both arms up, so your hands can be shoulder distance, or you can bring the palms together and look up to the thumbs. As you exhale, fold forward to Uttanasana, so a forward fold. Just let the upper body relax down. You can bend your knees here if you're tight. So that's a nice modification. We often have really tight hamstrings with the different activities, sitting, walking throughout the day. So just take a moment, give your legs some grace if you need to. And then just draw the belly in, let your upper body relax over your thighs. So you can bring your hands to the floor, or you can bring either hand to either elbow. And just take a moment to explore this pose with your breath. You may find over time you slowly gain flexibility through the backs of the legs, and you can bring your upper body a little bit closer to the knees, the calves. All right, on your next inhale, walk the hands forward and come to Ardha Uttanasana, so similar to that forward fold, but it's a half lift. So you're lengthening through the spine, and if your hands meeting the mat kind of round the spine forward, then you can bring your hands to the legs, the thighs. Again, keep a little bit of a bend in the knee if you're tight. The spine is nice and long, the belly draws in. So you'll notice in these forward folding motions, you're not able to belly breathe as much. So just make sure you use that full capacity of the lung space, breathe into the upper back. Good, crown of the head reaches away from the hips. All right, on the next exhale, we're going to come into Chaturanga Dandasana, so high plank to low push-up. So step your feet back, plant the hands underneath the shoulders. It requires a lot of strength through the hands, the arms, the upper back, also through the core to keep the hips lifted. So if you already are feeling a little bit of discomfort through the hands, the arms, the shoulders, just drop the knees, take the core a little bit out of the equation and just focus on your upper body. So in our high plank, we're just going to explore this here first. Again, taking it nice and slow. So spread through the fingers. Make sure you're pressing into all the pads of the fingers, pads of the hands. They help to support all those little joints, knuckles, wrists, and then press down into the floor, kind of like you're pushing the floor away from you to really activate the arms and the shoulder girdle. So the shoulder blades on the back open up away from the spine. The neck should be nice and long, so draw the tops of the shoulders away from the ears. And from here, if you feel strong enough, you can tuck your toes, lift your knees, engaging your core. So just make sure that you're not rounding your low back, because you can see if you round the low back by kind of hugging those abdominals in too much, your shoulders begin to crunch up, which we don't want. But we also don't want our hips to be drooping towards the floor, because that gets a little bit crunchy in the low back. So just find your nice strong plank. Good, and then from here we're going to lower to a hover. So you can hover the chest so that the elbows are hugging in towards the sides. And you want that elbow to be bent kind of on a 90-degree angle. Okay, so it requires a lot of strength. If you're not there yet, you can drop the belly, the chest to the floor, keeping the hands where they are. And then we'll inhale to our next pose, which is Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. So you're gonna pull into the hands almost like you're sliding yourself forward. On an inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift the heart, and you can just come up to the baby version, just cobra, just lifting the heart, looking forward, but you wanna keep the gaze down your nose so that you're reaching up through the crown of the head. Engage the glutes, point the toes so that you're really extending through the spine, keeping it nice and open. If you want to go into the full version of upward facing dog, you extend the arms and lift the thighs. Again, still keeping that spinal extension wherever you are. Make sure that you're breathing. And then on the exhale, we're going to reverse back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. So you can reverse your push-up. If you need to press your knees down, tuck the toes, send the hips back first to extend through the arms, and then press the hips high. Downward dog. So downward dog is an inversion, so similar to handstand. Don't worry, we're not going to handstand, but it is very similar. You're lifting the hips up over the heart, the lungs, the brain, giving yourself a nice little flush with the help of gravity.
but it can be a little bit alarming for the nervous system, so just take a moment and breathe. And then once you find your breath, nice and steady and calm, focusing on your alignment, making sure that your shoulders, your neck are safe. So make sure you have that nice bear paw grip. You're still extending up through the arms. The neck is nice and long, and you're sending those hips high so the spine is straight. Now you can bend your knees. Again, sometimes tight hamstrings. Downward dog isn't so much about lengthening the legs. You don't want to press the heels down if that causes your low back to round, because again, then you're kind of crunching up into the shoulders, same as our plank. You want the spine to be elongated, so bending the knees sometimes helps, kind of like your squat dog, I like to call it. So just take a moment to explore your inversion. And again, similar to those forward folds, kind of require our belly to draw in a little bit. So really explore the rib cage with that breath. And then on our next inhale, we're going to step back to our Ardha Uttanasana half lift. So step the feet towards the hands and lift the heart forward. You can walk the hands forward, or again, bring them to the thighs, the calves. Again, bend your knees if you're tight. Noticing how you need that kind of strong core to keep the spine upright, parallel with the floor. And then as you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold to your Uttanasana forward fold. So your hands can come to the floor, or again to either elbow, and just relax the head down. All right, on an inhale, come back to our Tadasana Samastitihi mountain pose. So on an inhale, imagine you have a heavy, heavy tail that drops back first. We're gonna stack up vertebrae by vertebrae as we lift. Stack the rib cage over the hips, and then roll the shoulders back and down. Head comes up last for our mountain pose, equal standing. Let's move through again. This time we will utilize the inhales or the exhales to aid in the transition to each pose. Now this can be challenging because it requires you to extend your breath. So if you're not used to breathing slow, or you're not used to being in these postures in general, it can be an added challenge. So if you need to take extra breaths, then take them and just make it a practice to work up towards one breath per movement. Explore the sensations and modify yourself as necessary, referring to our previous clip. And remember, no one person looks like anyone else in any given yoga pose, so just find what feels right for your body. All right, so find your equal standing mountain pose at the top of your mat. And then inhale, using that breath in to lengthen up through the arms. As you exhale, fold forward, draw the belly in, using that breath out to pull the belly button towards the spine, relax the head down. Inhale, as you fill the lungs, lift the heart forward, using that breath to extend the spine. And then as you exhale, keep your core nice and strong, lowering down from plank to your low push-up. Good. Inhale, filling the lungs, lift the heart into your back bend. And then exhale, using that exhale to engage the core and pull the hips back. Downward facing dog. Good, so downward facing dog is our reset, so just take a moment to find your breath here. Good, at the end of an exhale, just gently bend your knees, and then use your inhale to step the feet forward to your half lift. Exhale as you fold, again drawing the belly in, fold forward. And inhale to standing, so use the breath in to lengthen up through the body. Hands can reach high. And exhale, hands to sides. Equal standing mountain pose. Let's move through one final round. I'll simply cue the breath and the pose for you to experience the full sequence for yourself. Just remember to follow your breath and modify as necessary. Find your mountain pose, equal standing. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand tall, reach high. Exhale, hands to the sides, mountain pose.
All right, so now that we've explored that sun salutation in a few different ways, I encourage you to play around with it, maybe try 3 to 5 rounds and just explore how you feel, try and get into that kind of flow state, that meditative state as you move and breathe, and just make it a practice. Let me know what you think, leave your comments below. I'm Carly, thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out my other YouTube videos, make sure that you check my channel and hit subscribe while you're there. Until next time, namaste.